I'm going to say call it branding change going on at the moment. So you'll see us refer to PowerApps for Kids quite a lot. So wherever you see us in the world, if you like, it's PowerApps for Kids. And I'll talk a little bit later on about the places that you can go to see more about what we're doing and how to get involved. So as we go through this presentation, if there's anything, take a screenshot, whatever, that you want to put onto Twitter, then the hashtag is PowerApps for Kids. And if you @ PowerApps for Kids, then it'll get picked up by our, Twitter handles. So it's all kind of going into one place. So here we are. This is session 3. We've had 2. The first session that we did was, I'd almost call it an experimental session, where we didn't know if it would work, but we thought it'd be interesting to see if we could do something. So we had Reza Durrani and Daniel Christian presenting some of their creations. Second time round, we changed it up a bit, and it was really great because we had the Veenstra family in the form of Leo and Joel, and they're 8 and 10 years old, and they presented the noughts and crosses app, and it was really, really interesting to see them do that. So bear in mind that we do have a YouTube channel, and so you can just search that up on YouTube and you can see that back again, and this will become available on there as well. And so this time round, here we are again. So what I'm going to do now is, I am so bad at PowerPoint, by the way, so just forgive me in advance. Look, that did something. Right, so this time round, I'm going to run through, so we do the welcome, because we want this to have a bit of a family feel to it. This is kind of informal, but what we're doing is important. So we're doing it for children, but this is for children supported by their parents, because they will need assistance in terms of to enable them to be successful with this. So that's good, isn't it? So here we are, it's Thursday. What I'd like to do each time round is a very brief what is PowerApps. So PowerApps is, I'm going to do the child's version. It is part of Office 365, but it is an app that allows you to make multimedia apps and games that are specific to whatever your interests are. The parent side of things is to say, well, actually, this is the exact tool that they may end up using when they go into business. It's what I use on a daily basis in business. And so it's probably an example of something where the transferability of the skills is just incredible. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, stood up and he said that we'd be making millions of these. He actually said 500 million, which surprised me, between now and 2023. That's a lot of apps. We should probably start just making one now, just to keep him happy. So that's the what is PowerApps piece. So why learn PowerApps? It's kind of a little bit of a flip side to that. It's learn it because you will learn maths. You can apply it to any different subject that is of interest to you, whether it's history or music or art or whatever it may be. There's a place for everything within PowerApps. And the other point is that you can apply it in the workplace. It's a really transferable skill. So that is my piece that I'd like to kind of keep putting out there. I'm not trying to sell it. I love it, but I'm not kind of trying to sell it. I just like use it because it's cool. This is the hashtag that please use if you see something and you want to tweet it out. This community will build because of the people here. That's the only way we're gonna make progress here. So I've done a little recap of session 2. And this is how we're going to kind of run this particular session here. So we're going to do the competition results, which I'm actually quite looking forward to. We have the same entrance for the competition this time round as we had last week. So I am going to do a piece on how to get Office 365. Then Peter is going to do a little piece on variables because they're really, really important in PowerApps. And then we're going to go on to the main part of the session where Laura will be demonstrated how to build a hangman word game using PowerApps. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about PowerApps for Kids resources and then maybe next steps. So that takes us to the end of the intro. And so we'll kind of rewind back. And the next piece is I'm going to hand over to Peter, and he's going to do the piece on the competition side of things. Peter, how are you fixed for that? I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, we're ready. So
okay.
Let me share our screen.
Yep. Do I stop sharing at this point in my life? I think I'll do that.
It'll take over, I think.
Sure.
So I think you should be able to see my screen over here at the moment.
I can indeed.
Good. So we've got basically the two apps. One was created by Leo. The other one was created by Robin. So if we start with, start with Leo?
Yeah.
Okay. So Leo, why don't you first?
Let's go for 4 rows. We'll just keep it the same.
Yeah. Wait a second. Before we continue, let's first explain what it actually does. This is basically a little app that Rory created the basic app before, and that's what he showed us last week. The nice thing about this app is that basically you can change it. What the app does is it shows a picture, or actually it doesn't show a picture. But when you click on the right buttons, it will show part of the picture, and you have to guess. So what we're going to do is Leo will start, and you all have to make your guesses. So Leo, what is your theme of the app?
It's cartoon characters.
Cartoon characters. So that means that if you see which cartoon character it is, that will be revealed by the game. You have to go. You don't have to shout out. You just put a message into the message box in the chat window, and then Rory will pick up the winners and see if we can find out who it is. Okay, Leo, why don't you start? Oh, who's this? A bit slowly. Any guesses yet, Rory?
Sorry, I'm just showing my ignorance in terms of teams. I know what it is anyway.
You know who it is?
I can't see any suggestions here yet.
Oh,
I'm going to have to do one in a second.
I know this one extremely well.
No. Oh no, I know who this is. Yeah, I know who this is.
The chat.
Yeah. Well, actually, Kim got it. I didn't realise that was the guess. Kim got this one. Rory the racing car.
Yay!
Oh, good. Well done.
I should have really got that. I didn't. I was going down Lightning McQueen route.
Yeah, that's it. I was thinking the cars one. Cars
good.
That's a good
Leo,
one.
next one.
It's a very difficult one, this one. So.
Oh, a couple of white boxes. Oh, this is not difficult anymore.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Anybody got
it?
Suggestions?
Yay.
Yes, Michelle, well done.
Who got it?
Michelle.
Well done, Michelle. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I know this one.
It's fine.
How do you know it when it's all that there is just white screen?
And another one. Oh,
I know. Actually, don't know it.
This one's a rather difficult one. Except
you
if
can
you know
guess it.
where
I know.
You guess?
who is it?
Oh, I think I know this one.
Anybody got it?
No, we haven't got any guesses yet. It's got to be Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Dennis.
Oh no, is that Dennis?
Nope.
You're getting close.
Dennis.
That's not Dennis the Menace, is it?
No.
Who is that?
Anybody got it?
No.
Roger
No,
the Dodger.
But I think that's a bit UK based, so not everyone can get that.
Yeah,
You're forgiven.
I haven't got that excuse. I'm a Brit.
Taking the volume off.
Okay, it's which one was it?
Roger the Dodger.
Good.
From
Good
Beano.
answer.
From Beano.
Next
Yeah.
one. Oh,
Roger
this
Dodger.
is not difficult.
Oh yeah.
It is hard to know
Hey.
names sometimes.
Yes.
Because I've always forgot it.
Is that one of the furthest planets from the Earth.
Could be.
Someone
Go on.
must have guessed it by now.
Oh, we've got the volume off.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it?
Actually, I found the volume on that thing really annoying.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit annoying. Okay, next one, Leo.
Everybody get who got?
So we got Ambrose, got Pluto. Good.
Yep.
So this app is downloadable from the website. If you go onto there, you can just download it and install it and so on. So that's part of the fun. I think we all know this one.
Somebody must know it. Yes, it's. Oh, I know this one easily, but oh, come on, someone do it. Anybody got it?
Not yet. No, I don't think anyone knows it.
No,
Yeah.
nobody knows.
Yeah.
We know
I
how to get you
did
for
not know that
Christmas,
one.
Michelle.
Now we've got the next app. This one Robin created. Robin,
Yes.
what was your theme?
My theme was games.
Games. Okay, so you've got to guess which game it is. Okay, Robin, go.
Ah.
So we're going to keep the rows and
Yeah, right,
columns.
it's going to be the same. It's quite a good number.
So,
Go on, go press the button, Robin.
okay, let's start the first one.
Okay, guess which game it is. It's a very little piece of this.
You can't guess it
Okay, go,
yet.
press again, Robin.
And you can't, I still can't guess
Okay,
it.
keep going.
More white. What could this
Go on,
be?
keep
Could it
going.
just be a white sheet?
Oh,
Nope.
now people can start guessing, probably.
Oh,
Oh.
what? I'll remember this. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Does it begin with an F?
No.
I think it begins with an L.
Oh, no, I don't know in
It
that
begins
case.
with an L.
Yeah.
Laura knows.
It's a game that I've spent way too many hours playing.
That's your next mission.
Keep clicking them, Robin.
Is that Ludo then? I'm guessing.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Oh, come on, not this one.
Rightio. So
Is it
this
a one game?
one was an app that was very easy for the boys to update. Boys, did you find it easy to update the app?
Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, no, because I couldn't find very many pictures that would work on my computer.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to get the images right. So you need an image that suits the app. So it's nice and wide and wider than it's high. So those kind of things are quite difficult.
Who got this one?
I noticed on this that the image doesn't fill the screen. That we could have
No.
changed it so that it actually filled the screen,
You could do.
which would have been another option on the image. I didn't even realise I hadn't done that, but sometimes that can do strange things. Okay, cool. So should we move on to the next part of the session?
Yep. What's next?
I think Rory.
Well, actually, the next part of the session, it's slightly, I'm going to call it slightly dull, but it's kind of, you know, when things are important and like, in order to get Office, this is me sort of demonstrating to people how to get Office 365. So I have to, I'm going to have to turn off, I'm going to have to turn off the presentation, which I'm terrible at.
There we go.
Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to
I don't know who. What's happening here now?
It's fine. They'll sort it out.
Have we lost Rory?
Yes, gone.
Did he press the wrong close button?
Oh,
Oh, I think he's just joining now.
Yeah, Rory's back. You can see your screen now, Rory.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to I'm going to go on to Office 365 Trial E3. And then I'm just going to click the top button here. There are loads of ways of getting trials. This is the way I tend to do it. So it'll kind of whir around. So you've got an option of buy now or free trial. You just click on free trial, and then you will need, eventually in a couple of minutes time, you'll need a mobile phone. So just waiting for this thing. So create a new account. So I'm going to click on this. Now I'm going to need to make sure that I'm actually creating it in my own name. So I think it's trying to sign me out, which so as you can see here, it's probably going to, sometimes you may need to go through an incognito window so that things don't mess you around. So we'll see if this messes me around at any point. In fact, I have done this before in the past, and usually you're better off signing out and so on. It doesn't seem too fussed at the moment. So what I'm going to do, enter your work school, create a new account. So we'll check if you need to create a new account. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to, I'm going to create an incognito window because I just want to go right from scratch. So Office 365 E3 trial. Now what I will do is I will create a nice clean version of this for you guys to follow through, and we'll put it onto the PowerApps for Kids. So I'm just going to put my camera on. So go on to that free trial now, and it shouldn't try and do any of this business where it recognizes things, which means that I'll get to do a normal kind of sign up. So although you'll have seen that it's cost £17.60 a month, that's for an E3 trial. What we'll do at the end of the trial period is effectively just drop it down to an E1, which is about £6 a month, and I think that's about the best I can do it. I'm sure there's other ways around it, but that people can choose. But I think that sometimes when you pay for things, it's actually worth it because you're getting something for it. So I am just going to put in this, and I'm going to just click next on this. But I'm going to create a new account instead. So Rory Neary, and it's just doing the auto fill and so on. So 44781695618. Now it doesn't need this bit here. I always do one person so I don't get bothered by Microsoft about anything. And click next, and then you've got to do a bit where okay, it's going to send me a verification code. So this is the bit where you need your mobile phone. So you click send me a verification code, and it dings up very, very quickly, apart from when you're doing demonstrations. So it should come through in a few moments, and I've got it already. 854771, 854771. You verify that, and then you then create your own. You have to basically now you've got to start thinking. So I'm going to do PowerApps for Kids, and hopefully nobody's taken that. Check availability, then click next, and it's available. And I'm going to call this first account, it's currently called admin, and I'm going to just create a password for this. And I'm kind of hoping that I've actually done it correctly, which it looks like it's done it. Okay, so this thing we're nearly done now in terms of setting the account up. The only thing that I do beyond this is to downgrade it from an E3 license to an E1 license. We haven't noticed that we haven't actually had to pay for anything at this point in time. So obviously it's whirring around at the moment, but that's the kind of crux of setting this up. So what I might get us to do is, if it doesn't sort of refresh in a couple of seconds, then what I'll do is I'm going to hand over to Peter, and he can do his piece in terms of the in terms of global variables and so on. So I think what we'll do is we'll just leave that, because this is kind of normal. It normally, to be fair, okay, good, we've done it. You can see it set up. We've done it live, admin it, and we can go to setup. And you kind of jump through a few hoops here. It's not particularly like, it's a bit of a next thing, but you're almost there really at this point in time. But I wanted to make sure that I'm just going to go to www.office.com. We don't actually need to go to the admin center at this point. So I'm just going to go www.office.com, and it should show us the apps that we've got available to us. And what you'll see is straight away there are certain things that are actually going to be in the process of getting set up, because the account is only like about 1 minute old. So it's just demo demons and so on. So you can see we've got certain apps that are appearing here. This is actually quicker than usual, but if you click the arrow, then you can see, and where it says all apps, you'll be able to see all apps. And of course, the purpose of this exercise was to show you that you can get to PowerApps quite quickly. So now we've got all the gump from Microsoft when you first set up an account. I'm not really interested in that. I just want to click the all apps button here, because it doesn't know that we want to do PowerApps. So I'm going to click on all apps. Got things whirring around here. Good. And to be fair, all I really do is I just type in power, and you can see bottom right, we've got PowerApps. I might as well click on it, and it's actually going to take us to PowerApps. And as far as I'm concerned, from a demo perspective, we are pretty well done here. You know, this gets everyone in the room who's got a mobile phone can get themselves to this point, which means they can access the learning. And that was kind of one of our guiding principles here. It would be nice for the screen to just pop up. You can see that it's kind of getting there. Make.powerapps.com home. And we're going to see the screen pop up, and then I'm going to hand over to Peter.
Okay. While that basically disappears, I might as well quickly introduce what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to do a very, very quick session. It's only 5 minutes, and I'm going to talk about how to set variables. I'm going to explain what it's all about. So while that little spinny thing is still spinning, I'm sure we believe that it will create us.
You can take over at this point, Peter.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And I've still got Robin's and Leo's games over here, but I've got my little demo over here. Rory earlier, he created a little PowerPoint. I basically thought I'll go the lazy way. I created a Power App, and I use Power App to do my presentation over here. So it's all about the set function that's available within Power Apps. I will give you an example in a little bit. So don't worry about it too much yet. If you can't fully understand it yet, that's fine. The set function, it's a little bit of code, and it's used to set a variable to a certain value. So what that means is a variable. That's the first difficult word in there probably. A variable, I compare it a little bit to a drawer. You can put something in it, and you can take it out, and you can put something else in it, and so on. And you can have lots of drawers. So imagine, for example, I've got a sock drawer in my bedroom. I've got a kitchen drawer in the kitchen, and also different drawers, and you put different things in it. Although I guess you could put your socks in the kitchen drawer if you wanted to. So what else have we got? A value. So a value could be something like 34, 2.5, socks. Like I said, socks in my sock drawer, or information can be a very long sentence. It can be anything. Any kind of information can be a value. Yeah. So that's the few things that we want to remember. So then within Power Apps, you've got the set function. The syntax, another difficult word. The way you write a set function is you start with a set, then you've got an open bracket, then you've got your name of the variable, and then a comma. Don't forget the comma, otherwise it won't work. And then you've got, for example, a text which says, this is my value. But it could be anything. You could also have a text or a number maybe, or any kind of bits that are information. There's lots more complicated stuff as well, but I don't want to get into that today, as I just want to show you the simple bits. So we've looked at all the basic bits. I've now created a little app. And before we're going to run that app, I'm going to show you where I'm using. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. That's probably better. Is that okay, like that?
Yeah.
I'm basically setting over here. Well, this is a little button. This is another button over here. And I've got another button over there. And I've got 3 drawers over there. This is my kitchen drawer. This is my bedroom drawer. And I've got over here, I've got a desk drawer. And what I'm going to do is, when I click on this button, I'm going to put the knives and forks away. So let me go and click on it. Hey, I've got my knives and forks in the kitchen drawer. That's what I wanted, isn't there? Or I can put socks in my bedroom drawer. Or I've got pens that go in my desk drawer. All nice and tidy. And I can even clear it up again. We're pressing over here. So I take everything out of my drawers again. I'm going to show you how this really worked. And later on, when Laura does her presentation, I've actually asked her, can you point out all the places where you're using set? Because it means that you can make this a bit of a theme today. So I've got my kitchen drawer over here. Again, I've got my set function. I've got an open bracket. Got my variable name. Called my variable name kitchen drawer. It's very important to call your variables after that purpose. So I called my kitchen, my variable kitchen drawer. And then I've got a value over here. Knives and forks. If I look at my second button over here, I've got a bedroom drawer and I'm putting socks in it. So again, set, open bracket, bedroom drawer, a comma, socks, and a close bracket. And that's as easy as it is. And I'm sure you can already guess how the pens work over here. I'm just setting a value over there. But you can do all sorts of stuff. If you wanted to, for example, you could just replace this over here with a number and it would still all work. So there's lots of stuff that you might want to do. So you can put your numbers in there, you can put your text in there and whatever else. That is what the set command is all about. Was that a quick presentation?
Yeah, that was fantastic. And I think the other thing for people to be aware of is that variables can be numbers, they can be text, but they can also be images. They can or even be audio files effectively. So they are just variables. They are kind of what they sound. They can vary. The only thing that you can't do is have something that is 1 minute an image and next minute a text function. You obviously have to be consistent with what they are. But apart from that, you can do what you want with them.
Yeah. So I basically just took my kitchen drawer 2, created a new variable over there, just give it a new name, and I give it a number 24. And now if I run it, it would set that variable to 24. So that's a number. So that's as easy as it is.
Brilliant.
Okay, I would leave it there, and then hopefully Laura can pick it up a little bit within her demonstration. You're all good, Laura?
Yep, I'm all good to go.
Okay, I'll unshare my screen and take it away.
Okay, so let me share. Ooh, share button. It's getting there. It's getting there. Right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool.
I see a start game.
Start game. So this is a really simple hangman game. Okay. You have to come up with a word that's 5 letters long. Okay. So this is, somebody sets the game up. So let's put in the word power as PowerApps. Okay. And then you click the start game. And let me minimize that bit. And there we are. We've got our 5 dashes and I've got a box here I can type a letter into. So if we put in the letter A, I can get a guess and it tells me what I've guessed so far. Okay. But if I put in a letter that I know is in there and I press guess, there you are. It puts it in the right place. So just to make this a little bit quicker, I'm just going to, because I'm cheating a little bit because I know what the answer is. Yeah. And if we put in the R and the P and I press guess, there we are. We've got a winner. Okay.
Brilliant.
So that's what we're going to build. I'm going to take it nice and steady. If you've got any questions, please interrupt me, okay, or put them in the chat. And if somebody can keep a vague eye on chat, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do is I'm going to close this one, and we're going to go for creating an app. And I'm going to go.
Wow. She's going for it. She's going from blank.
Of course. I do for every. Oh, that's not what I want.
This is the kind of like yeah, this is the kind of ninja app building whilst in presentations.
I do. Yeah. Let's not talk about doing it at conferences. So. I timed myself earlier on creating it. And if the demo gods would please be good, that would be nice.
So we will be putting this up. It probably takes us a couple of days for us to put the videos for this up. So if you haven't kind of quite caught everything, then the video, you'll be able to return to the video and then be able to see that the steps that have been taken already. And
we'll find somewhere to put the final app up as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we've got a GitHub for PowerApps for Kids, and we'll be able to pop it in there. So, yeah, that'll go up there.
Okay, so here we are in our app. The first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to rename this screen. So I'm going to double click over here on the left, and I'm going to call this screen setup. Right, so this is the screen that people enter in things to begin with. So we want some 5 text boxes that they can put a letter in each one. So I'm going to go to the insert ribbon, and I'm going to insert text input. And there we go, there's my text input. Couple of things. I want it to be kind of big and square, so I'm going to resize it. And then I am going to make the text bigger. So on the home ribbon, there's formatting things, so I can make the text bigger. I could pick a different font, all sorts of things. All right, and I'm going to make it be in the middle as well. Now it has some default text that says text input. Now one quick way to find it, you can either go and look down here, or what I think's easier is over here. It says default, the first one at the top here. If I click on there, there you are, it puts it at the top there. And I actually want it to not have any default. So I'm going to take out all the text. You can leave the double quotes in there, or you can take them away, right? So that's my box. If I press play in the top right hand corner, I can put a letter in there, and that works.
Yeah, I also need iPad. That's one. Yeah, I know.
So
another
the
one.
other part we can do, because we don't want anybody to put 2 letters in there. There's a really nice, easy one in here called max length. So they're alphabetical, those properties. So I'm going to put the max length in as 1. And now when I go to press play, if I try to type in another letter, it just doesn't let me type it in. Okay? So you do all that work to set that one up. And I'm going to rename it. Naming things is really important. Name it things you're going to remember. So I'm going to call that one letter. Now, I don't want to have to, I want 5 letters. I don't want to do that 5 times. So what we do is I do a right click and I do a copy. And that copies it onto a thing called clipboard. And then I can do a right click somewhere else on the screen and do a paste. And there you are, I've got a box. Okay. And if I do that a few more times, what it also does is it nicely names them for you. Okay, so if you remember, I called this one up here letter. But each of these have been named letter 1, letter 2, letter 3. And I'm going to do I'm going to do a right click and a paste. And a right click and a paste. And actually, this one that I created at the beginning that didn't have a number, I'm going to say goodbye to. Get rid of it. Cut, or I could click delete, whichever, right? So that means, so somebody give me a 5-letter word. One of the adults.
Robin, do you know a 5-letter word?
Yes.
What's a 5-letter word?
Robin.
Ah,
That's a really good one. I like that. Thank you, Robin. I spelt it right. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's my name.
Just checking. I'm not the best speller in the world. So once they've entered in that, I need a button underneath to say, right now, play the game. So we're going to insert a button. And if you double click on the button, you can edit the text. So, I'll put play game, doesn't matter. Start game, play game, right? Now, let's zoom in a little bit. So I've got my button selected, and if I go onto the action ribbon, what I want to do is to go to another screen. We need that screen first, don't we? So let's insert a new screen. Blank one will do fine. Okay. And we're going to call this one screen game. Always a good idea to call things you'll remember. So back into here and onto my button. Now, let's go back to that action. So a really simple way to just add navigate to a button. On the action ribbon, there's a navigate drop down. And there you are. It says which screen do you want to go to and how do you want to get there. So you've got a couple of transitions, okay? Things to play around with. I quite like cover right. So let's play. Press my button. And there we go. I'm going to get rid of that dialog box. There we go. We're on the screen game. Okay. So, playing hangman. What the other person has to do is they have to guess a letter, don't they? So they want a box that they can type a letter into and then have a button they can press guess. Well, it can be a box just like those letters. So let's do a right click and a paste. So there we go. I've got a button. So there we are. I don't want it to be called letter because that's going to confuse me. I'm going to call it guess. Right? So we want to put that over there a bit. We want to have a button here. So they type in a letter and they press the guess. So let's insert a button. Make guess. Excuse me. Right. So what's that button going to do? So this is our first example of using set, right? So instead of that false, I'm going to type in that set function. And then we've got to make up a name for our variable. So I'm going to call my variable here, I'm going to call it my guesses. Right? So what do we want to put into that variable, into that drawer? Okay, just like Peter showed. We want to put whatever letter they've just guessed. So if we remember, if you look on the left-hand side here, that was called guess. And what we want out of that box is what text is inside that box. So it's called a property, but it's the text of the box rather than the color or the size or something, right? So that's going to save that into there. And then we're going to add in a label. Okay, so that label is going to come down here. So this one here is my guesses. So this text box here isn't going to have the text. So get rid of everything, including the quotes. And if I type in MY, there you are, it gives you my guesses. So at the minute, it's blank. So let's press play. Put in the letter A and make a guess. And there you are, the letter A appears. A bit small. We'll fix that in a minute. If I put in the letter B, well, the letter B appears, but it's forgotten the A. That's no good. So what we want it to do, now this is a little bit complicated, but bear with me. What we want it to do is we want it to add that new letter we've guessed onto what we had before. So to add strings together, okay? In maths, you use plus to add numbers together. Well, strings have a different symbol. You use an ampersand, okay? So that's, you have to press the shift button and press the number 7. And then we're going to put in my guesses. So let's have another play of that. So if I make a guess B, there you are, the B's appeared. Now let's put in another letter. Let's put in a G. And there you are, the G's been added on the front, right? So that was, so this part here is adding those strings together. Right. So I said I was going to make that text big. Let me just quickly do that, and then we'll move on to the next bit. It might make lots of guesses, so let's make that a little bit longer. So the next part is, once someone's guessed a letter, because, hey, B is in Robin, so we should have a B up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to show, I'm going to put all the letters there, and then we'll talk about hiding them. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go for a inserting a label. And we're going to make that label, I'm going to do the same trick as before. I'm going to call it answer. And I'm going to go to the home, and we're going to make it big text and centered. Okay. Now, just like before, we had the default text. Well, in this case, it's not default, it's just called text. So I'm going to click on there, and that shows me that text value. So what I want in there is I want it to look back on the other screen and get the value. So I can type in letter, and there we are. There's letter 1 dot. Okay, so there's R for the beginning of Robin. So what we're going to do with this one is I'm going to make it a little bit narrower. Right click, and we're going to copy it. And then right click and paste. So they're all going to say R's for the time being. Don't worry, we're going to fix that.
So this is referencing the object that's on a different screen.
Yeah, so you can look at things on other screens. It's really useful. You don't have to have the screen at the front, okay? And when you're naming things, your names have to be unique over the whole app. So just like if you've got 2 kids at school with the same name, it's confusing. Well, apps can't cope with that confusing. So I can't call that letter 5 because I've got a letter 5 up here. So that's why I had to come up with a different name. So my answer there, I'm going to just delete. Right, so this one here, if you see up in the formula bar at the top here, it says letter 1 dot text. Well, I'm going to just change that. I'm just going to quickly tweak that to be a 2. And I'm just going to change that to a 3. That to a 4. And that to a 5. So there we are. We've got the word. Okay. Let's move that down a bit, because otherwise they're all going on top of each other. But that's kind of cheating. You don't want to see the word until they've guessed it. Right? So, things being shown in a game or in any app, whether it's there or not, is whether it's visible or not. And that's an on-off button. So I can turn that off and it's hiding, turn it back on, and it comes back. If I click on the word visible, it'll appear in the formula bar at the top here. And this is called a Boolean value. True or false, yes or no. Okay, is the kind of style. So computers don't have yes and no, they have true and false instead in lots of places. So what we want to know is the letter R in my guesses? Right? So the letter R is, if we remember, is letter 1 dot text. So is that one in my guesses? Well, no, it's not. So hence it doesn't show. Okay, so just to prove that it is going to work, I'm just going to guess the letter R. And there you are, the R appeared. So I'm going to do that to all of them. Okay.
That's very good, Laura.
I have, is Matthew on the call? Him and I came up with this in a call together. It was once we worked it out, it's quite a nice idea.
Yeah, no, it's nice, and I think that there's enough technical pieces in here, but it's not super technical. Robin, are you understanding what you're seeing so far?
Yes.
That's great.
Well done.
It's quite good.
You understand it too, Leo?
Yeah, it's quite amazing, I find.
Yeah.
Because it's quite simple, because when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be quite hard to make. But then, if you look at it now, it's quite easy.
Yeah. Once you understand the idea of some of the logic, it's not too horrible.
It's a lot simpler than I thought. Yeah.
Now we're not drawing the picture of a hangman, but when I come to show you the how I get the pictures in, if I get enough time, I'm realizing I'm running out of time.
Don't worry.
Okay. It's a really nice challenge to actually make sure that you're not doing anything too horrible.
Yeah.
So if we now come back into here and I put in an O. Now, one thing to be aware of, okay, and is where I'm actually there's a couple of things here. If I put the letter I in lowercase, oh, it works. It didn't last time I did it. Okay.
It can be a bit hit and miss, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so there are some times when actually you have to make sure the case is going to work. I wasn't expecting that to work, I have to confess. So that's working, right? But my problem is I'm having to delete this box. I'm having to delete the letter that's in there. So I could end up guessing one letter twice because I pressed on it twice. So the bit I'm going to do next is I'm just going to do what's called a reset, which means empty it, set it back to the default. Okay, so I'm going to reset guess. So let's put in a Z. And there you are, it's empty. So it's ready for my next guess. So you don't have to do that, but it helps. Right. So what we're going to do in here, how many guesses do you think we should have? We should have. How many guesses do you think they should be allowed?
How many guesses, Leah?
10, I think.
Yeah, 10.
10. You're tough. So what we're going to do is we're going to count how many guesses they've done. Okay. So I'm going to call it guess count. Now, my guesses is text. It's a string of letters. Okay. And there are some functions you can do to things like strings of letters. And one of the really simple functions, okay, is called len. And it'll tell you how many letters are in a string. So if I put len and then into there, I say, what's the length of my guesses? So what that's going to do is save into guess count how many letters I've guessed. Okay. So if the guess count gets to 10, as you've just said, we're going to put up game over. Right? What am I at the minute? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. That's okay. So I'm going to add a picture. Now, in order to add a picture, I'm going to go to View, Media. And I don't know why my media is not doing the new version, but hey.
I didn't know there was a new one.
There's a new panel that's appeared.
Okay.
So I'm going to add in both pictures while I'm here. I've picked up 2 pictures. I did a search on Google. But you could draw your own pictures and then scan them in. That'd be quite cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert of the media an image. And that picture is going to be game over. So make sure you name your pictures good names, because that's what's going to appear here. So you need to name the actual file. But this one, we're going to do visible again. So this one, we're going to do, I've lost visible. There's visible. So it says true. But what we're going to do is we're going to do guess count. So we only want this to show if the guess count is greater than or equal to 10. Okay. So let's put in some letters that aren't in Robin. And there you are, it comes up with game over. Okay. We want a way to do it just to reset the game so we can have another go. So that's just what we're going to do now so that we can reset this and then do a winner picture. So I'm going to insert a button. Okay, so we need to undo these things. Okay, so I'm going to set my guess count to 0. And I'm going to set my guesses. So this is text. So you put in 2 quotes. to make it an empty string. So there's no text in there at all. To empty the drawer. Yeah? So that puts the number 0 in the guess count drawer, and this puts an empty string into there, right? And we want to be able to put in a new word. So this time we're going to do a navigate. And the screen we're going to navigate to is setup. And let's just pick a transition. Okay. So let's just test that. Oh, I could put a name on it, but I'm trying to save time here. Click on that, and there we are. We're back on here again. And if I press play game, there we are. We're ready to start guessing again. So let's actually guess it right this time. It's going to spell your name backwards.
Mhm.
Oh, it's not a U in it, is it? See, I told you I can't spell.
It should spell nibble.
Nibble. There you go. So what we want now is
Let's say you've won.
to say you've won.
Yay.
Okay. Now, this part, unfortunately, this part is not a friendly piece of code. My apologies. I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. But what you want to do is you want to count how many letters are visible. Yeah? So if there's 5 that are visible, you've won. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we've got to remember the semicolon. Always remember the semicolons. We're going to do another set.
I don't get the.
So we're going to put this in as our score. Right? Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in answer 1. Oops, 1. No, it's not that. It's answer _1. Let's get it right. Dot visible. Okay. And what this basically, we're going to add them together because visible is a true false, but actually it's a 0 or a 1. So it's when it's visible, it equals 1. Right? So this is 1 plus 1 plus 1 to add on to 5.
I think technically this is really fascinating. This is really, really, really interesting. I didn't even know that that a true or false was. I kind of knew it was a 1 or a not, but I didn't know that it knew it was a 1 or a not.
Shall I tell you what? Neither did I before I did this.
Yeah.
So I've learned some new things. I've learned some new things doing this.
You can also use 2 ampersands, Laura, rather than a plus. So that's the logical.
Yes, because that would give you an and, wouldn't?
But I think the pluses is nice.
I'm trying to keep it to pluses because that's what I think of as being maths.
Yep.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's adding numbers together.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you do the ampersands, Peter, you'll end up with a true at the end.
Yep.
Which possibly would be another way of doing it. It'd be a nice way of doing it. But then that'd be another way. Yeah. So do you see, because of all those things I've put in there, it's put coloured boxes around all the letters that we've referred to. So you can check you've got them all. Yeah. And then we're going to put into here. This is our final piece, I think. I'm going to put in an image.
Okay.
I'm going to make it my winner. And I'm going to make the visible. So we played lots with visible today and lots with set.
Yeah.
Score is greater than or equal to, it'll never get greater than 2, so it's going to be equal to, isn't it? It's going to be equal to 5. And it should equal 5. Why doesn't it equal 5? Excuse me a moment. One quick way to find out what's going on is to put up a label
I think you haven't set
Oh, we
the
haven't pressed
score
the
yet.
button. We
No.
haven't pressed the button. So actually,
yeah.
I need to put another guess in there. So let's put in a Z, because hey, that makes sense. And there we are. It's now added it up, and there's my 5. That's my way of checking what's going on. But it doesn't have to be there, right?
Really good. We've got a winner, I think.
What could make it better is if you have like a little place where it counts how many goes you've had and it shows it, because then you know.
Right. Okay.
I think
That's
you have to come back.
quick. That's a really good suggestion. And can I just show you really quickly how to do it?
Yep.
Because do you remember which variable in here is storing how many times you've guessed?
Guess count.
Do you remember?
My guess is then.
My guess is the len. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
It's this one here, and
Yeah.
that's being stored in a variable called guess count, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I come into here and I put in guess count, yeah, and
It's already there.
It's already there.
there you go.
Wow.
And if I put in another guess, I know I've won, but if I put another guess, you'll see it goes up.
Yeah.
That's extremely simple.
It is, isn't it? It's really clever what you can do. It's actually not. That's the most complicated piece of code. That bit there.
Yeah.
But if you take that step by step, okay.
That's gonna
So I'm going to give that a bit of a tidy up. It'd also be nice to put some instructions. You should put some labels in here with some instructions in what to do. But that's niceties.
I mean, that's really, I really like that. I think that, you know, we should probably save that and make that specific thing available on GitHub, because that will then align to our video and so on. So if you save that, and we will literally make that one available, because although it's simple, there are some really interesting interesting things.
Okay. Before we do that, then I will literally give you this version, but I'm going to put a label on that button. I haven't named any of the buttons as well, which is a bit naughty of me.
That's fine. I think you should leave it as it is, and then you can
leave it as it is.
If there's a version that you want to put on where you've kind of done your souped up version, you know, put that on as well, and we can have them both on. We can have the video version and the kind of like all singing, all dancing version.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to take it and improve it or make it different, I'd really like to see what they do.
Sounds like a good competition for next time, I think, Rory.
Do you think we should? I think that's quite a nice idea. I mean, we've had these kind of competitions and so on, and I think as we kind of build this out, then we will have more people involved. And even if somebody was watching this back at a later date, they could still pick up your app and they could still develop it and so on. The learning kind of goes on. So I have found this absolutely fascinating. How about you, Peter?
I think it was really good.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I think everybody over here thinks it's great. So, yeah, that's really good.
There's some really positive things in the chat as well. So can I do I'll do a slightly techie review of that. Not much of a techie, just to say that we use variables, which were demonstrated at the start. This is a bit of a learning check. We use the visible property quite heavily to make things appear and not appear. And we talked about true and false. And then interestingly, we found that we can actually add up the trues together, because true equals 1. So we could add them together. So when we got enough of the right guesses, then we could know that we'd got the value correct. We also use something called reset, which is what you do for things like drop downs and text boxes and so on. And we also use the len function to work out the length of the guesses. And then we also did an exercise where you reset the variables, and there was some screen navigations. And I would say that this is actually a really, really good example of an app that a child could genuinely build but learn loads. There's even images in it. It's a brilliant app. I love it.
Thank you. It's been fun to do.
Yeah, thank you very much. So lots of positive things in there. So we're going to say, look, between this time and next time, if people want to do their version of it, then by all means do so. What I think I'm going to do now is jump back to the kind of in inverted commas main presentation. But thank you for doing that. That was really well thought out. Actually, I would have struggled to have done that, and you've done a great job of that. So as I say, we'll make that available on the video. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump back onto I'll share my screen, and I will jump back onto the presentation just so that we can get things done in the right order. Here we go. There we are, a bit smoother than last time. So where we are, so we did actually the how to get Office 365, and I'll do a video for that. We did the variables, we did the hang one word game, which is brilliant, and then I just want to talk about PowerApps for Kids resources. So if you look on I think it's on the previous screen actually. No, it isn't on the previous screen. It's possibly on the next screen. No, maybe not. Okay, so we've got a number of places that you can go to. I think the very first place I would direct people to is PowerApps for Kids, as in the Twitter, because that gives us an opportunity to maybe communicate with people. It's not something I want to do a huge amount, and I only want to communicate with adults to help them along their way. We have got PowerApps for Kids, the website. So I'm just presenting that. So PowerAppsForKids.com, and we're going to be building out the resources that are available on PowerApps for Kids. In fact, that has not found it. www.powerapps.
You missed it. Yes.
PowerApps for Kids. So this is the website, and we will have increasingly more things that you can do. So you'll be able to download the app from today eventually. And then there's also the YouTube channel. So I will just go onto YouTube. In fact, YouTube. In fact, we can get to it from the website, I believe. There it is there. So you can get to the YouTube channel from the website. And so we've just got 2 videos on at the moment. Soon we'll have 3. But what we'll also do, what I'm tempted to do, Laura, is probably just put a single version of I'll cut your bit out and have it as this is a little project. I think that will be a really nice thing to have people available to people. And eventually, give it a couple of weeks time, we'll actually have the address for YouTube will be youtube.com/PowerApps for Kids, which I think it'll be quite nice for people to get to. So I hope you've all enjoyed this session, and please, this is I'm not saying we're making things up as we go along, but we need all the help we can get to be for us to be successful with this. And so having Laura along is fantastic. Peter came on last time round, and I know that there are other people that are waiting in the wings to present some cool stuff in the future. The final thing I'll say is that we'll run our next session. I'm just going to jump and put this onto the screen. Our next session, we're going to give it a little bit of time just so that we can just so that we have got enough time to make sure the material is quite good. So our next session will be Tuesday. It's never easy when you're typing. Tuesday, it'll be the 16th, and it'll be of June 2020. We'll stick to the same time, but in the meantime, we will still be putting things onto the channel. So please follow PowerApps for Kids on Twitter, because we'll be that's where you're going to find out things first. So at this point, Peter, have you got any thoughts on the session from today?
I think today was amazing. I thought the stuff that Laura sent us, showed us, I mean. So hopefully we can find another very good presenter next time. Absolutely,
yeah. No, we've got some, we've got some people waiting in the wings for next time round. It's funny actually. I didn't know how you were gonna deliver this particular problem, if you like, and I think it was absolutely fascinating. There's probably about 10 different ways you could have done it, and this was the way you chose, which was brilliant.
Right, it was making sure that we didn't introduce too many skills. So I wanted to introduce the text things and the varieties, and I knew that Peter was doing a set session, so that was really good.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to building around what you've done here on the website so that we can present this as our very first project, supported by the skills like len and let variables, etc., etc. So that's going to be really cool. Brilliant. So should we hand over to Emma to close off the session?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rory. Thanks everyone so much for joining the session, and a very special thanks to our speakers as well. There is a short survey that I will send out in the chat, and I'd really appreciate if you could fill that in after the session. Like Rory said, the next one will be on the 16th of June. You'll be able to sign up on the meetup page. It should be up by the end of the week. So hopefully see lots of you there.
Brilliant. Well, enjoy the rest of your days. And once again, thank you for coming on, Laura. Love to have you on again sometime.
I would love to come back.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So
I'll be back on the 16th of June to come and watch.
Yeah, excellent. Looking forward to it. So everyone, thanks for coming along, and enjoy the rest of your day. And please, this is your community, so do get involved. Tell us what you want so that we can then think about it and then present it back to you. We just want to, we love this platform, and we just want to show children that they can be part of it too. Thanks very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.